All right, guys, we're going to get started shortly here on the show. Do me a favor and like and share the show. Anywhere you're watching, any social media platform possible, engage with the show. Hit that like button. Do me a favor and let your buddies know. Aaron Lee, hello. Welcome to the broadcast. Tim Stevenson, welcome. Welcome to the show. We love when you watch, Timmy. Welcome to the broadcast. Tim, are you watching in... Where are you watching? Charleston, I think you're watching? Let me know. Put it in the feed. Give the show a like and a share. We're going to have a good program today on the I Love Seville show. I'm going to talk a little, a listing that just went on the market today. This listing, $329,000 for 728 square feet. 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. We'll talk about that on the program. We'll talk about the opportunity for City Council to put a beer garden on the downtown mall to stimulate the economy. That conversation coming up. Richmond and the governor is empowering local municipalities with the opportunity to create outdoor refreshment areas. If I was running for City Council, this would be on my platform, and one of my tenets to getting elected into office is how to jumpstart the local economy. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. We'll also talk the University of Virginia men's basketball team. They're on a 3-game losing streak. What's going on with Tony Bennett's boys? We'll have that conversation today on the I Love Seville show. If you can do me a favor and like and share the show anywhere you're watching, Twitter if you're watching, give me a retweet and quote the retweet, Instagram and LinkedIn. I can't wait to interact with you. Judah Wickower, I'm in your hands. Let me know when you want to begin. Hello, Ray Cadell. Guys, welcome to the I Love Seville show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on a glorious day to be alive, a Friday, in fact, one of our favorite days of the week. Thank you for joining us. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. Of course, on the I Love Seville network, we are presented and powered by Ting, crazy fast internet. The best internet in Charlottesville and Central Virginia is without question Ting. We use it to power this network, and we're offering you the best price on Ting possible, a $288 savings, only Judah Wickower, our director, through iloveseville.ting.com. It is so good, guys. All right, a lot on today's agenda. We will talk a beer garden on the downtown mall and the fact that this is very close to potentially becoming a reality. I will explain to you the hurdles still to clear for a beer garden coming to the downtown mall to stimulate the most important 8 blocks in the city of Charlottesville and huff and resuscitate these 8 blocks back to life. You call it a beer garden, the governor's office calls it an outdoor refreshment area. Either way, it's a beer garden, and I'm going to break it down on the program today. I'm going to also ask this question. If Jerry Miller was a Charlottesville City Council candidate, what would Jerry Miller do? That conversation on the I Love Seville show today. We'll talk $329,000 asking price. You heard me correctly, a $329,000 asking price for a home that has less than 730 square feet. Boys and girls, this is a price per square foot of $453. The home is located at 806 Blenheim Avenue. 806 Blenheim Avenue is in the heart of Belmont. I'm going to try to put in perspective where it is. It is between Brown's Takeout Fried Chicken on Avon, Mas Tapas, and the Local. It's right in that area. I'm going to put this listing on screen. It's from Ness Realty. And I'm going to give you some perspective on a listing that is 728 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a lot size of .14, and an asking price of over $329,000. The home was built in 1949. We'll take a look at this house. We'll compare it to that home on Knoll Street that had a $675,000 asking price. And we'll just discuss the real estate market from a macro and micro perspective on the program. I also want to talk Virginia basketball. UVA, Tony Bennett's boys are on a 3-game losing streak. The Wahoos have Miami on the schedule on Monday. We'll assess what's wrong with the team and where we need to go with the ACC tournament and the big dance knocking on the door right around the corner. Folks, Charlottesville-based Co-Construct, this is flying under the radar, and it's a topic that you will, after this show, because all the news outlets watch this program to get the news for their TV stations or their newspapers. After I say this, you will see this in the news cycle, so get ready. Co-Construct is a Charlottesville-based construction software management firm. They recently were acquired. We have that story for you of the sale of Charlottesville-based Co-Construct, and we're going to ask ourselves, how could this impact Charlottesville moving forward with Co-Construct now being acquired by a firm outside of Central Virginia? So we have a lot to cover on today's program. Tell your friends about it. Give the show a like and a share. The lead of the show has to be something that I've been championing for some time on this network, and that's creating a beer garden, an outdoor refreshment area. I don't care what you want to call it. It's semantics. It's all about branding. An outdoor refreshment area, to the haters, that's probably more socially accepted outdoor refreshment area as opposed to beer garden. So here's the nitty gritty, and then I'm going to give you what I would do with it as a visionary and as a businessman. Okay, so the governor will allow localities like the city of Charlottesville to create their own outdoor refreshment area where people could carry alcoholic drinks inside and outside restaurants, potentially walk up and down the downtown mall. Currently, the law only allows localities to do this kind of stuff for special events and at a maximum of 16 times a year. So Charlottesville, say the Tom Tom Festival, 16 times a year in Charlottesville, government has the autonomy to take the downtown mall and turn it into a beer garden or an outdoor refreshment area. Because of COVID-19 and because budgets are in shambles, local government, state government, and federal government are having to be more creative and open-minded with their thinking. That's why you see cannabis being pushed through Richmond, being pushed through state governments everywhere, local governments everywhere. We need the tax revenue from marijuana. Cut to the chase. That's why it's getting pushed down the pipe. Gambling. Why is gambling getting pushed down the pipe? Because we need the tax revenue. COVID has crushed our budgets. Outdoor beer garden, outdoor refreshment area, whatever the hell you want to call it. Why is this being discussed? Because the elected officials in Richmond, with our state legislator, they're hearing from locals on the downtown mall that are saying the vacancy rate on the mall is 25% and we need to do something about it. As a result, politicians are getting creative, and now they're empowering municipalities with creating these areas and saying you can do them 16 times a year or you can do them full-time every day. So that's where we're at now. Now, here's the question. This is what we have to ask ourselves. And I think this is why you watch this program. Why you watch this program, I think, is because we take the news and then we think about it. We apply common sense, creative thinking, and an entrepreneur's mind to assess the news and take it to another level. It's not just PR press release reading we're doing here. So we know that Richmond, that the governor is empowering local governments to create this outdoor refreshment area. What should Charlottesville do? What should Albemarle County do? Let's talk Charlottesville first. The downtown mall has a vacancy rate that's roughly 25% right now. 25% of the storefronts are vacant or empty. Empty storefronts breed other empty storefronts. It's one of the basic rules in real estate. Broken windows breed other broken windows. Graffiti breeds more graffiti. So one of the first things you want to do if you're in local government is to try to solve the conundrum, the dilemma of the open storefront on your 8 blocks, the most important 8 blocks in the city. To solve the conundrum of 25% vacancy from a storefront standpoint, you got to ask yourself this: why are people not coming downtown? To solve the vacancy, we got to ask ourselves, why are people not coming downtown? Well, they're not coming downtown because they're afraid to eat inside. They're not coming downtown because they're nervous about listening to music inside. So as an entrepreneur, as a local elected official, as someone who potentially could run for council, maybe someone that's running for council now, Brian Pinkston, Juan Diego Wade, Yaz Washington, Nakia Walker is seeking a second term on council. You ask the question, why are people not coming downtown, and you try to solve it. And how you solve it is by allowing people to eat and drink while outside downtown. That's how you solve the question. And the next part of the question you have to ask yourself is, how can we utilize this opportunity to create tax revenue for the locality? Because we're in a budget deficit and we don't want to tax our citizens more than we're doing right now. So what you can do, and I'm going to do a clear outline on this on the I Love Seville Network with the written word, and then I will tag every elected official, I will tag every city council candidate, and as many people that are working in City Hall as possible. Here's the play. The governor is allowing you to turn the downtown mall into an outdoor refreshment area. Put a $15 an hour employee at the center of the downtown mall and sell wristbands and a plastic cup to people who want it. Sell them for $5. That $5 stays with the city of Charlottesville. It's incremental revenue that can help make up a budget deficit. You sell the cup and the wristband. Maybe it changes colors every day, so people can't reuse the same cup and wristband. The cup and wristband are then taken to restaurants, from the Whiskey Jar to Draft Tap Room to Petit Pois to Zocalo to Rapture to Citizen Burger Bar to the Alley Light and all the restaurants in between. You then have created consumer confidence because people can eat and drink outside while walking up and down the mall. You've created a new revenue stream for the city of Charlottesville, who's strapped on money right now. That revenue stream is the sale of bracelets and cups that allow people to drink while walking up and down the mall. All of a sudden, this is what you've done as a government. You've created a new source of income, the bracelets and the cups, and more importantly, you've stimulated an 8 blocks that right now is vulnerable. So you will make the back end tax revenue off the food and booze sales at the restaurants. When people come downtown to eat and drink, they will also shop at the stores on the mall that are open. So you get the back end revenue if you're a municipality on the retail sales. This is called using a small and medium-sized business mindset to resuscitate a local economy, because you know you have to resuscitate that economy, because if you don't, you're going to raise taxes on your citizens, and that's going to piss them off. Multiple ways. If I was running for council right now, my platform would be an economic-focused platform. The first tenet would be this outdoor refreshment area around the downtown mall. And folks, I want you to think about this. Why does this only have to be downtown? Could there not be an outdoor refreshment area in Barracks Road Shopping Center? Could there not be an outdoor refreshment area in the shops of Stonefield? How about 5th Street Station? How about an outdoor refreshment area in Belmont? You can walk from Mas Tapas to the Local to Junction to Bell with a cocktail in your hand. Is the outdoor refreshment area not an opportunity for every shopping center out there that is struggling to figure out a way to huff some life into the shopping center? Fifth Street Station is a ghost town. But if you could walk from Chim to Panera to Timberwood Tap House to Picasso Swig to Extreme Pizza to the Spam restaurant, what is that? Makiso? What is the Spam restaurant over there? Mochico? Thank you, Judah. From Wegmans? Imagine if you could carry a cold beverage all over Fifth Street Station before or after a movie. People would come. If our current elected officials, or if the candidates for office, if they are not offering this outdoor refreshment area as an idea or strategy to huff life into the local economy, well, damn it, ask them to do it. You're not going to turn around downtown until you create a reason for people to come here. And right now, consumer confidence is being trumped by COVID fear. And the only way we're going to alleviate COVID-19 fear is by explaining to the marketplace that you can eat and drink outside while walking up and down the mall until vaccinations become more approachable, rolled out, and ubiquitous. What are your thoughts? Put them in the feed. I see an outdoor refreshment area in downtown Charlottesville. I see an outdoor refreshment area in Belmont and Barracks Road. I cannot imagine an outdoor refreshment area on the UVA corner. Could you? What would an outdoor refreshment area, aka a beer garden, look like on the University of Virginia corner? That could be potentially chaotic. So I'm not going to say you put one on the UVA corner for now. But Belmont, the downtown mall, Barracks Road Shopping Center, Fifth Street Station, and the shops of Stonefield, those 5 are chomping at the bit for that. And I know Fifth Street Station and the shops in Stonefield are in Albemarle County. So Board of Supervisors, you have an opportunity too for some incremental revenue here. Remember, you can make money on the bracelet and the cup on the front end, and then you get the benefit of the back end tax revenue. Am I crazy? Do you think I'm crazy? If you build it, they will come. Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And here are the roadblocks. Ready? These are the roadblocks we will face for an outdoor refreshment area. Are you ready for this? Undoubtedly, the first roadblock you will face with this is going to come from the mayor and her spot-on council. She will vote immediately against this. Immediately against this. That's the first roadblock you're going to encounter. The second roadblock you're going to encounter with an outdoor refreshment area is the following. The cut-through streets on the downtown mall. Is that 2nd and 4th Streets? Those are the 2 cut-through streets. I'm going to catch some flack for saying this, because I know the restaurant owners love those cut-through streets, especially my man Wilson Ritchie, who I have tremendous respect for. I do not see how you can have a downtown mall outdoor refreshment area or beer garden while still allowing the through traffic on the downtown mall on 4th Street and 2nd Street. So if you're the Downtown Business Owners Association, and I offer counsel and sounding board to the DBAC on a weekly basis, they understand the influence we have here. If you're the Downtown Business Owners Association, you may have to give a little to get more. And the path to performance, the path to execution, the path to an outdoor refreshment area likely will require the cut-through streets on the downtown mall to be closed to vehicle traffic. That way, you don't have people with cocktails on Heather Higher Way hanging out and drinking martinis or margaritas while Oldsmobiles are driving through 4th Street to get to Water Street. That's the second roadblock you're going to encounter. Now, here's the third roadblock you're going to encounter. This is what small and medium-sized business owners do. Number ones at small and medium-sized business owners, at least successful small and medium-sized businesses, this is how they think. They see what happens before the marketplace sees what happens, okay? This is literally what successful CEOs and business owners have to do on a daily basis to stay alive, especially during COVID. We see ahead of what actually happens, okay? Outdoor refreshment area. First barrier is going to be Mayor Nakia Walker poo-pooing this idea. I guarantee you that'll happen. The second barrier is going to be the closing of 4th and 2nd Streets, the cross streets on the mall. You're going to have to do that if you're going to have an outdoor refreshment area. I know the restaurant owners don't want that because I know the restaurant owners get a lot of their deliveries from those side streets. And a lot of the staff at the restaurants that are getting off at like 3, 4 in the morning, they're getting picked up by Ubers and cabs on those side streets. Okay, because they have more lights on 2nd and 4th Streets, those cut-through streets, than going off the mall. Okay, now the third barrier you're going to have for an outdoor refreshment area, and get ready for this, is parking. Now, get ready for this topic. If you build it, they will come. If you turn downtown mall into a beer garden where we have to go to Central Place right in front of Zocalo and we have to buy a $5 wrist bracelet and get a plastic cup from a city hall employee, that $5 stays with the government. Then we take our plastic cup and our wristband and we go to the Whiskey Jar for a bourbon. We go to Andy McClure's Citizen Burger Bar for an IPA, and maybe we carry a steakhouse burger in our hands as we're walking up and down the mall. If you build it, they will come. Don't we all agree if the downtown mall is a beer garden, people will patronize this all the time? We all are in agreement with that, right? Certainly from a novelty standpoint, right? Everyone will come initially. Spring has sprung. We want to be outside. We've saved money because of COVID. Credit card debt is down. Savings is up because we're not going out. If you build it, people will come. Here's the third barrier of entry, third problem. It's going to be parking. It's going to be parking. It's going to be parking. And it's going to get back to that garage on Market Street. If you turn the mall into a beer garden, the mall will be more popular than ever. That's going to put an emphasis and a priority on that garage in the Guadalajara Lucky 7 spot. Because if the city of Charlottesville does not build that garage, they're going to have to give 90 spaces in the Market Street garage, the current one, to Albemarle County. And then you're going to have a parking conundrum. An outdoor beer garden will turn downtown into the Tony hot spot. And it will evolve the mall from a 25% vacancy rate to being back to the spot that we all know it is. Am I crazy? Am I crazy what I'm saying? Do you disagree with what I'm saying? And before you answer that, I want you to think about this. If you live in Albemarle County, if you live in the city of Charlottesville, if our local government officials don't figure out new ideas or incremental ideas to drive tax revenue, all your taxes are going to go up. Meals tax go up, lodging tax goes up, food and beverage tax go up, real estate tax go up, retail taxes go up. They're all going to go up. They got to. They ain't got no money. They ain't got no money, honey. New ways of revenue will help our taxes from upticking. Gambling, cannabis, outdoor refreshment areas. Am I wrong? All right, I'll get to your comments. Kelly Lewis says, this is a good idea. This is common sense. Thank you, Kelly, for watching. Neil Williamson shares a link from the Free Enterprise Forum on the value of regional events like this and regional ideas like this and how it can drive tax revenue. Neil, we love when you watch the program here. This question's coming in. Jerry, this is from Laura. Jerry, this is a no-brainer. This exists already, as you know. New Orleans is a perfect example. I'm sure this is something that's going to get folks coming back to the downtown mall. My husband and I were there on Monday. It was absolutely empty. You're 100% right. I enjoy your show, Jerry. Thank you, Laura, for watching that. Am I wrong? James Watson, I will get to your question too. James Watson has a question on Co-Construct. Co-Construct has been purchased by Builder Trend. Charlottesville-based Co-Construct has been purchased by Builder Trend. So they're going to combine networks and make this one behemoth company. Builder Trend is out of Omaha, Nebraska. Co-Construct is out of Charlottesville, Virginia. We have to ask ourselves this question. This Omaha, Nebraska company that purchased Charlottesville, Virginia-based Co-Construct, what is going to happen to Charlottesville-based Co-Construct? What is going to happen from a hiring standpoint, from an employment standpoint, from Co-Construct using that big office building? James Watson, was Co-Construct going to that big office building that Oliver Kutner did? Was it the 323 building, kind of close to ACAC? Is that where Co-Construct was going to go, James Watson? Let me know. If I was a city council candidate, the first tenet of my platform, if I was a board of supervisors candidate, the first tenet of my platform, especially in this economy, would be the stimulation of local businesses. The second thing I would be thinking about is, how do we create new tax revenue so we don't have to put more of a burden on local citizens? Guys, if we're not careful, our town is going to turn into a bunch of folks that have big bags of money from outside the area, and you're not going to recognize the people you see at Fridays After 5. Remember before COVID-19 hit, we'd go to Fridays After 5, and we'd see like 50, 60, 70 people we knew. We'd walk up and down the mall on a gorgeous summer afternoon, have a couple of beverages in us, maybe some pizza from Christians, and we'd see friends and family and people on both sides. It was the place to be seen. You ain't careful, we're going to evolve into a bunch of transplants, a community of transplants. And I'm not saying I'm a lifer. I'm not. But I've been here almost 21 years. And I ain't that old. Certainly a huge portion of my life, this town. And if I can put that in perspective for you, why don't we put the 806 Blenheim Avenue on the list, on the screen? Please, sir, do that, Judah Whitcower. This is the next head-scratching listing. Earlier in the week, we talked about that $675,000 listing on Knoll, right? Do you have that one, Judah? In fact, let me stay focused. Let's do Blenheim first. Are you able to access the photos from that link I gave you and rotate them through so the viewers can see it, Judah? 806 Blenheim Avenue. If you could rotate those photos so they can see it, that would be good. Okay, thank you. Okay, before I talk about this listing, I want to emphasize this. I'm not knocking the house. I'm not knocking the agent. I'm not knocking the neighborhood. I ain't throwing any shade on anyone. There is no shade being thrown on anyone here. All I'm doing is discussing a piece of property, and if anything, I'm putting more eyeballs and more of a spotlight on this property as it is now on the market for less than 1 day. This house, and I'm going to give the specs to the folks that are listening on iTunes, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts that don't have the advantage of a visual that Judah's now putting on screen. The address is 806 Blenheim Avenue in Charlottesville, Virginia. This home is this home's in Belmont. It's 4 blocks from the local, a hop, skip, and a jump from Brown's Fried Chicken. It's right off of Avon, close to Montrose Avenue, Meridian Street, Alta Vista, and Elliott. This is Belmont, okay? 806 Blenheim Avenue is 728 square feet. Can I ask you this question? When does a house become a tiny house? I'm going to actually Google that right now. When does a house become a tiny house? Or what square footage makes a house a tiny house? I legitimately don't have that answer. This tiny house movement. What's the threshold of a square feet where a house no longer is a tiny house from a brand standpoint? From my perspective, and maybe I'm wrong, and you guys can disagree with me. If you can, put them in the feed. From my standpoint, 728 square feet, 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, this is a tiny house. This is called a tiny house from my standpoint. Maybe I'm wrong. This home was built in 1949. It's on 1 story. Let me know when you're flipping through those photos, J-Dubs, if you could. I'm looking at the photos, and I have nothing. I want nothing but the best for this seller. Nothing but the best. The asking price of this home is $329,900. The price per square foot is $453 a square foot. If this is the entry point in the city of Charlottesville, and $329,000 is the entry point for a first-time home buyer. If you're a first-time home buyer in the city of Charlottesville, and your options are $453 a square foot, 728 square feet total, 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, that's brutal. That's competitive. That's brutal. That's tough. That's tight. If you're a first-time home buyer, can you raise a family in a 728 square foot home? Judah Wickhauer, our director, says the photos are on screen. If you're watching the show, look at the screen now. And I want nothing but positive and the best for this house. The reason I'm bringing this to your attention is it's a snapshot on the affordability or lack thereof of this fine community. $329,900 asking price for 728 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a home built in 1949. And you know what the freaking crazy thing is? Who wants to bet that this house goes under contract in less than a week? Who wants to bet that this house goes under contract in less than 5 days? If I put the over-under at 4 days for this home going under contract, would you take the over or the under? That's a proposition bet right there. If the over-under was 4 days for $329,900 asking price, 728 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 4 days, the over-under, this home going under contract, would you take the over or the under? I'm taking the under. Last week on this network, on this show, last week, I highlighted another listing. And that listing I highlighted, Judah, if you can get that on screen, my friend, that would mean the world to me, please. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. Yes, sir. I'm talking about now. Last week, I featured a home, 713 Knoll Street in Fifeville. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, less than 2,500 square feet. Asking price of $675,000. The house 2 doors down does not have running water. $675,000 asking price for a home less than 2,500 square feet on a postage size of a lot. Went under contract in less than 4 days. 2 doors down, no running water. This is a real estate market that is so red hot that it potentially might be unhealthy. And you got to ask yourself, and we were talking about this on Real Talk this morning, the show we do with Keith Smith, Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love Seville network. This is what you have to ask yourself. okay? Interest rates are upticking. If interest rates uptick, even the slightest, buyers have less purchasing power with higher rates. Does that drive down prices or stabilize this market a little bit? My prediction, absolutely not. And why I think this market is still going to go bananas for the next 12 to 24 months is very straightforward, and I will outline the argument in very clear and concise fashion. One, even if interest rates creep to 3 or 3.25, that's still cheap money, and as cheap as you're going to find in your lifetime. Two, we have people who spent the best 4 years of their life in college at the University of Virginia and now have the opportunity to work their job remotely from anywhere in the world because of COVID-19. These people wax nostalgic about their 4 years in college and say, you know what? Why am I going to live in Arlington, McLean, D.C., New York, or a big urban environment where it's crowded, congested, busy, and expensive? Why don't I wax nostalgic and relive those 4 great years in Charlottesville, but this time as a married man or woman with children? And I can do my job from an ISP inside my house. That's happening left and right. My neighbors, they sold a townhome about 1,500 square feet in Arlington for a little over $1 million. They came down to my neighborhood, bought a 5,000 square feet home for about $750,000, and they put in the bank $200,000+. They're in their mid-30s. That happened, and it's happening everywhere. 12 to 24 months, this market ain't changing. It ain't changing. If you disagree, let me know. Put it in the feed. Alex Erpy, welcome to the broadcast. Vanessa Parkhill, hello. Neil Williamson, I love when you watch the house. Jimmy North, good man, is watching. Null Street is under contract. Claire Sullenberger, you're exactly right. Less than 4 days, Claire. And thank you for setting. Claire Sullenberger was the one who put Blenheim Avenue on my radar. Claire Sullenberger knows real estate. Jimmy North Googled and he said, a tiny house is between 100 and 400 square feet. Jimmy North, thank you for that information, Jimmy North. So this home on Blenheim Avenue is 728 square feet. So not quite in the tiny house threshold. Still, the price per square foot is $453 per square foot. Now, a lot of agents will say, don't use the metric price per square foot. I personally like that metric. Granted, my background is commercial and most of my investment property is commercial, so I'm using terminology like cap rate and price per square. That doesn't really apply as much on the residential side. Still, it's a metric worth considering. Thank you, Mark. Mark says 500 square feet or less. Mark, the manager at Animal Connection. Thank you, Mark. James Watson, thank you for that answer. So I'm going to get to the Co-Construct topic in a matter of moments. Co-Construct, the Charlottesville-based SaaS firm. SaaS is subscription as a service. So Co-Construct has a construction management software that they provide as a subscription service to clients. And they're just a bona fide company. They employ a hell of a lot of people. They've been purchased by a company out of Omaha, Nebraska. Shockingly, none of the media outlets in town have mentioned anything about this. They will after this show, mark my words. I'm going to get to this topic, but here are the questions we have to ask with Co-Construct being purchased. What happens to their office building 323? How much people are going to go into that office building? Will the new company continue to hire within the Charlottesville market? Will this be so I got a lot of questions about this. Co-Construct is a major employer in town. A major employer in town. And you have to ask yourselves, you got another major employer in town in State Farm who's selling their building and their campus on Pantops and having all those folks on the State Farm on Pantops work remotely. You got to wonder about Co-Construct. And then you got to start scratching your head and saying, good night. What happens to the local economy if peeps don't drive 1,000 peeps or however many people working at State Farm aren't coming to the campus on Pantops? Or if peeps aren't driving in and coming to the building Co-Construct built, the 323? What happens to the economy if people aren't in the buildings? So I want to talk about that on today's program. I want to get to your comments, your thoughts, your concerns on the show as well. A lot of comments coming in. Very excited about the comments coming in. I want to talk UVA basketball as well. This is a good comment. Jerry, please don't use my name. My husband and I and our 2 children have put offers on 12 different homes in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, and every time we've lost out to an all-cash bidder or someone who had more favorable terms than us. We want the American dream just like everybody, and there's nothing that would mean more to me than seeing my children in our backyard, especially in a time like now where we've been stuck in an apartment, learning inside, and not really have had much interaction. I've watched your show and what you said about Blenheim Avenue. The $329,900 price is what we can afford. But how can we buy a home with 2 children that has 2 bedrooms and only 1 bathroom? How can we grow into this home? We feel pressure that we're not going to ever be able to buy a house, and instead we're destined to rent, or we're going to have to move away from the area we love, which is Charlottesville and Albemarle County, and it just makes me sad. I wish I had an answer for you there, and I'm grateful that you shared that. And I have one little boy, and I can't imagine two in a super tight space. And like you, our little boy and my wife and I, we were saying the other day we're spending more time inside than we would like to because of COVID. And I can respect the fact that you're trying to buy a house. And I can respect the fact that you've been beaten out 12 or 13 times on the home that you're trying to buy. And I agree with you. How are you going to be able to buy a 728 square foot home that has 2 bedrooms and 1 bath when you have 2 kids? You can't. That's not the home for you. And I hate to say this. If your price point is that $329 or $350 price point, that first-time home with that backyard for your kids is probably not going to be in Charlottesville. And it may not be in Albemarle County. And it might be somewhere like Lake Monticello or Fluvanna or Waynesboro or Greene. And that may not be what you want to hear, but perhaps that's what the marketplace is telling you. And the market, she's a heartless woman. She's going to do what she wants to do, not what you want to do. Think about the position this mom just relayed on air, and I won't use your name, I promise. 2 kids, struck out 12 times on properties that they're trying to buy for a first-time house. What they can afford in Charlottesville and Albemarle County is $329,000, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, yet they have 2 Bambinos. Think about the conundrum that is. My better half, all she wants is what's best for our kid, our son. Every day, I see it. All she does is she wakes up and says, I want what's best for Trey. And I can't even imagine, especially knowing my wife, what this mom is feeling. And I'm getting like choked up. I can't even imagine what she's saying, because probably all she wants is what's best for her 2 kids. Crazy, man. Crazy times. All right. A couple other things I want to relay on air, and then I'll get to your comments. We can make the show super interactive, and we can interact with each other. And if you disagree with me, please put it on the stream. If you agree with me, put it on the stream. If you want to change topics, I can adapt to you. I'm going to ask the question, what's wrong with the University of Virginia men's basketball team? And before I ask the question or take a deep dive into what's wrong with Tony Bennett's boys, think about how spoiled we are. UVA is on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost to Florida State, top 10 team, top 12 team in the country. They lost to Duke, and they lost to NC State. 3-game losing streak. We all throw our hands in the air and say, what's wrong with UVA basketball? You know what that means? It means we're spoiled. We've had this long run with Tony Bennett at the helm and had so much success. We've grown accustomed to winning. We've grown accustomed to expecting to win. So when we hit a 3-game losing skid like we're in now, it becomes much more magnified or much more, what the hell is going around chatter? And if you read the message boards and follow the commentary online, you got haters jumping all over Kihei Clark. You got haters jumping over this team and the fact that they have no character, no grit, can't play defense, can't do the pack line like we've grown accustomed to. You got people saying there's no alpha dog that can score in the clutch. And maybe, you know what? Maybe all that's true. You know what's unique about this team compared to some of Tony's in the past? Sam Hauser and Trey Murphy are transfers. They're 2 of our most important players. They're new to the program. We're not recruited into the program. They're transfers. I would love to see Trey Murphy figure out his form where he's contributing 12 to 16 points a game to take the pressure off of Sam, Jay, and Kihei for scoring. Trey's got to step up. I haven't lost faith in this team one bit. Get the ACC standings on screen, please. Judah Wickhauer. We're in 2nd place. Florida State's ahead of us. Miami's on the docket for Monday. This team has ample opportunity to make a push, and if I know Tony Bennett, and we've all seen what he can do on the sidelines, he's going to use this 3-game skid to reinvent the team, to challenge the team, to get the team heading in the right direction. Trey Murphy's going to have to score more. Kihei Clark's going to have to take better care of the basketball. And I would love to see Sam Hauser or Jay Huff start taking over ball games because oftentimes they're the best scorers on the court. Yet oftentimes they're too passive. Don't give up on this team yet. This team is still ready to make some moves. Sincerely believe that. Last bit of news that you will see in all the media publications and all the media outlets after this show is the fact that Builder Trend has acquired Charlottesville-based Co-Construct to create a market leader in construction management software. Builder Trend is the leading provider of cloud-based construction management software for home builders. Co-Construct is a complementary provider of construction project management software for residential construction industry. Co-Construct was founded in 2005 in Charlottesville, Virginia, with a mission to bring residential construction project management into the 21st century. I want these questions answered. These are the questions I want answered. How does this acquisition of an Omaha, Nebraska company buying a Charlottesville company, how is it going to impact the Charlottesville office? Specifically, will the employees come to the 323 building between ACAC and the downtown mall? Will Co-Construct continue to hire people from the Charlottesville market? How much autonomy does the Charlottesville market have over decision-making and hiring, or does everything have to go through the Omaha, Nebraska corporate office first? I also want to see if Omaha has eventual plans to consolidate out of the Charlottesville market to one market in their headquarters in Omaha. Those are questions that are not answered in this acquisition. And those are questions I want answers to. Because this firm employs a hell of a lot of people in Charlottesville. Does anyone have a rough idea that they can put in the feed how many employees roughly Co-Construct has? I would love that answer. Rough estimate. How many employees does Co-Construct have, the Charlottesville-based subscription as a service firm? If you could put that in the feed, that would mean the world to me. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. And remember, State Farm is no longer using their offices on Pantops either. Why it's a big deal is Co-Construct was one of the firms, one of the employers we were counting on to have this massive density of people in the office building right off the mall. So at lunchtime, after work, happy hour, and dinner, Fridays, Thursdays, and the weekends, the folks in this building walk a block and a half to the mall and spend the money they just earned in that building downtown, driving the economy. So this is a big deal. You'll see it in the other publications. All right, that's the show. Comments, put them in the feed. Questions, put them in the feed. Mark, James, thank you for watching the program. Nashville, Tennessee, watching the show. I love our UVA friends in Nashville, Tennessee. We got, what's the heat map say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states right now watching the network. 5 different states. Love it, love it, love it. So the whole premise of the show is to bring local news to you in a long-form, approachable setting. That's what we try to do. Monday, next week, I have, Jim Hingley, Commonwealth's attorney, Albemarle County in studio. Harrison Keevil on Tuesday. Harrison Keevil has launched a digital food hall. We'll talk about Harrison Keevil's digital food hall on Tuesday. And remember, the idea we had of hosting a live debate for city council candidates, it's really coming to fruition. Kathy Galvin, former Charlottesville City Councilor, will ask the questions and be the moderator. Yaz Washington has confirmed her invitation to the debate. She will be there. Juan Diego Wade confirmed yesterday. I will ask Brian Pinkston if he will join us on the live debate. I sent an invitation out to Mayor Nikhil Walker. She has not responded to my invitation or sent me a message back to my invitation. She hasn't said anything to me. So Kathy Galvin hosting. Brian Pinkston, Juan Diego Wade, Yaz Washington, Mayor Walker, you're also invited as well. And we get to know the candidates. And Kathy, I think Kathy's going to ask some really hard questions. I mean, she spent 2 terms on council. Before that, she was on the school board. Very few people know the city like Kathy. So I'll keep you posted on that live debate. And also kind of let the cat out of the bag about a couple things here. We're working on 2 more live shows for you on this network. Maybe I can release some details next week. And also in the second quarter, a live auction on this network for a charity to be named later. I could be the auctioneer. Got 100, got a 200, got a 300, got a 400, going once, twice, sold. The Lamborghini goes to Chris in Belmont. So a live auction on the network to benefit a charity that means a lot. Details to come for that. That's the show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love Seville show. It's the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. We bring the content that matters, and we talk about it in honest and real ways on this network. It's not 30-second sound bites. It's digging deep and talking about stuff that matters. Thank you for joining us today.